All right, come sit by me for a minute. Let's talk about what happens after that first video sinks in. Because once you know what limerence is, the next question is usually this: how did it actually get this far? It didn't start out feeling obsessive. It didn't start out feeling painful. In the beginning, it probably felt exciting, or hopeful, or quietly meaningful in a way you couldn't explain yet. Limerence doesn't arrive all at once. It unfolds. It moves in stages. And once something has stages, it stops feeling endless. And once you can see those stages clearly, the experience stops feeling random and starts feeling navigable. So let's walk through them together, not to judge where you are, not to rush you out of it, just to help you understand what your system has been doing. Stage 1. Infatuation. What Dorothy Tenov called the glimmer. This is where it begins. You meet someone and something about them stands out. Not in a dramatic lightning bolt way. More like a quiet internal shift. Dorothy Tenov, the psychologist who coined the term limerence, called this moment the glimmer. The glimmer is that initial spark of heightened interest, a subtle pull, a sense of intrigue that feels a little stronger than usual. It's not obsession yet, it's not attachment, it's simply that feeling of, oh, that person caught my attention. They seem interesting, a bit charged, oddly familiar. You notice them more than other people. You replay the interaction later. You think about them when they're not around. And at this stage, nothing is wrong. This is just attraction. But attraction becomes attachment when attention stops moving. When your focus starts circling instead of passing through, the glimmer begins to deepen. Stage 2. Crystallization. This is where your mind steps in and starts doing more work than you realize. You begin filling in gaps. You focus on their best qualities. You smooth over anything that feels uncertain or incomplete. You don't really know them yet, but they start to feel important. You assume depth. You assume compatibility. You assume meaning. This process is called crystallization. It's when a real person slowly turns into something more symbolic, someone special, someone significant. Oh, honey, this happens quietly. Most people don't realize it's happening at all. They just know that suddenly, this person feels different from everyone else. You're not lying to yourself on purpose. Your mind is trying to make sense of limited information. This is where the pedestal gets built. Stage 3. Hope mixed with uncertainty. Now the waiting begins. You're no longer just interested. You're unsure. You don't know how they feel, and that not knowing starts taking up a lot of mental space. You begin tracking signals, text, timing, tone. A quick reply feels reassuring. A delayed reply feels unsettling. Your nervous system starts scanning for clues. This stage feels restless, not calm, not stable. You're suspended between hope and doubt, and your body is trying to resolve the tension. You may find yourself thinking about them more than you want to, wondering what things mean, trying to predict what comes next. This is where emotional energy starts getting pulled inward, toward monitoring and interpreting. Stage 4. Intensification. This is where limerence starts to take over more of your inner world. They're in your thoughts constantly, not because you want them to be, but because your mind keeps returning there. You replay conversations. You imagine future moments. You think about what might happen next. Your emotional highs depend on closeness. Your lows depend on distance. Other parts of your life don't disappear, but they fade into the background a little. People often say this stage feels like being hijacked, and honestly, that makes sense. Your attention has narrowed. Your focus has become selective. Stage 5. Emotional dependency. Now the stakes feel personal. Your mood starts orbiting their behavior. If they're warm, you feel steadier. If they pull back, everything feels off. Your sense of worth starts getting tangled up in how they show up. You might find yourself checking your phone more than you want to, rethinking messages, waiting for reassurance you don't quite know how to ask for. And listen to me here. This is usually the stage where people start turning on themselves. You think you're too much. too attached, too sensitive, but that's not what's happening. Your nervous system has latched onto a source of relief, and it's trying to keep access to it. Not because it's foolish, but because it remembers what relief once meant. Stage 6, distress and disillusionment. Eventually, the cost starts to show. The waiting feels heavy. The uncertainty feels exhausting. You begin noticing things you ignored earlier. Inconsistencies, emotional distance, a lack of reciprocity. The fantasy weakens. And this stage hurts, not just because of disappointment, but because you're also grieving the story you told yourself, the future you imagined, the meaning you attached. This is often where sadness, anger, or numbness shows up. And as painful as it is, this stage is also where clarity begins to break through. Stage 7, detachment or resolution. This is where the cycle starts to loosen. Sometimes limerence turns into real connection, but only if there's mutual availability, consistency, and emotional safety. More often, this stage is about detachment. Your thoughts slowly lose their grip. Your emotional energy starts coming back to you. Your nervous system finds other places to rest. This doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually. You don't erase the experience, but it stops running your inner world. And that's the end of the cycle. Why seeing the stages matters. Knowing these stages isn't about labeling yourself. It's about orientation. When you can recognize the stage you're in, the experience stops feeling so confusing and starts feeling navigable. And that matters. Because once you know where you are, you stop panicking about where you're going. And panic fades faster when understanding replaces urgency. If this put words to something you've been quietly living through, you're not alone. If this helped you understand your experience a little more clearly, can you do me a favor and like the video so it reaches other people who might be stuck in the same loop and don't know what to call it yet? Remember to subscribe if you want more conversations like this, the kind that slow things down and help you make sense of what your nervous system's been trying to do. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, someone who's been hurting or blaming themselves, feel free to share this with them. Sometimes hearing this has a name is the first moment of relief. You're also welcome to leave a comment and share which stage felt most familiar. You never know who might read it and feel a little less alone. And if this resonated, stay with me. Next time, we're going to talk about something that trips a lot of people up. The difference between limerence and love. Not the obvious differences. The quiet ones that feel convincing while you're inside them. Big Sis has your back. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.